What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC. Today we're taking a look at a mystery build of the Ontario Rat Model 2 customized by way of knife. Was recently browsing their customization options on the site to customize a knife I already have in my collection. I haven't started that project yet, but hopefully will soon. But while browsing, came across a listing for an Ontario Rat 2 mystery build for $75. The way it works, you don't have to send them your Rat 2, they'll pull one from the inventory. So effectively you're buying a $40 knife and then $35 of customization, but you actually get more than that in customization because with these mystery builds, you're giving full creative control to Way of Knife. And so they may customize the handles, they may customize the hardware, the blade itself with different finishes and file work, or some combination of all of that. And in the end, you get this unique build that if you were to customize it yourself, they do offer that. You can order specific customization, but you'd end up paying more than what they do. And so really cool opportunity to get a unique version of the Ontario Rat Model 2. Now there is one area where you can kind of control the direction they take. So they have a bunch of custom Rat 2 scales from like regular G10 with different finishes and colors and stuff like that, different images on it. They have aluminum, carbon fiber, but you can pay $25 more and ensure that you get titanium scales. Those will still be customized. You don't get to choose the customization on them, but you'll know you'll get the titanium scales. So I did go that route. This is the $100 mystery build, and I'll link to it in the description if you're interested. No, you won't get the exact same configuration, and I'm not affiliated with them in any way, paid full price for this, so wanted to get that out of the way, but we'll link to it in the description. So let's see what they built for me. And so obviously have those titanium scales, and you can see they went with a lightning anodization, which I love. Really happy with what they selected for me. Has a sort of purple base with this lightning pattern going through it, and it's a unique pattern on each scale, so it's not going to be identical on the show side and that pile side. You can see it actually ends a little bit early on this back side here, so we have a lot of purple here at the top, and so I love that. I have no problem with them not exactly matching. It's really part of the process. The way I understand how lightning ano works, they heat anodize the titanium to a specific shade, which isn't this purple. Then they quickly quench it in this acid bath that changes it to the purple and also creates this pattern here, which is really unique. Looks like lightning, hence the name lightning ano. And so I love the way that looks. And one of my favorite things about it is at first glance, it almost looks like you have this white lightning pattern going through it, but the closer you look, you'll see that there's actually not any white in this pattern. It's outlined in blue, and then you have yellows, oranges, reds, and greens in there mixed in. And so the closer you look, the more detail you see, and it's just really fun. So absolutely love that about it. Now, in terms of other customization, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot. It seems like the hardware itself is the stock hardware, as far as I can tell, that black hardware. We have the stock blade. Obviously they stay with D2. Everyone's going to get a D2 blade, but you may get different like stone wash on here or file work on the spine, stuff like that. It looks like mine's completely stock with that normal drop point shape, full flat grind. All of that's exactly the same. All of our logos are still intact, and so no changes there. The only other change that I know they made was the pocket clip itself is titanium, and so I can tell because on the original Rat 2 you can stick a magnet to it and it will stick. In this case, the magnet does not stick to that clip, indicating that it's titanium, which is nice since we have titanium scales as well, but it's in the same style. We don't have the logo on it like we might have on the original, but it's definitely the same style of pocket clip, which is great. And that's actually one really cool thing about all of these customization options, whether you get different scales than this one or not. They keep the exact same body shape, so they line up with those original liners. They even retain the four-way pocket clip, and so most people are tip up only, but it has right and left hand tip up, but you can also have tip down carry right or left-handed for those who still like tip down carry. And so really glad they retained all of the original DNA here, because this is really a budget legend. And you might wonder why upgrade a budget knife that's $40. The whole point of this knife is it's kind of a one and done knife that you can recommend to people, that may be the only knife they ever buy because it's really well suited, well-rounded knife. And so for me, I just like having unique and different knives in my collection. I thought it was fun that this one in particular is going to be a one-off. No one's going to have this exact lightning ano pattern. There may be other people with lightning ano on their titanium scales, but no one's going to have this exact one, and that's really cool to me. So going to go over the knife itself quickly. Most of the original dimensions really haven't changed, and most people have seen videos on the Rat 2, but for those who don't, this is a 7-inch overall knife, so the smaller brother of the Model 1. We have 4 inches in the handle, incredibly ergonomic. You can get all 4 fingers wrapped around there nicely, really locks in. If you do want to creep up, there's this landing spot, which maybe not recommended because you do get up close to that tip, but you definitely can do it for a little bit more real estate. Either grip is extremely comfortable. We have a 3-inch drop point blade in D2 steel in this case. If you don't get the mystery build, you can also buy it in AUS 8, which I think is the kind of lesser steel here, and so either one is perfectly fine. I may actually blade swap this eventually because I know Blade HQ just did a S35VN version of the Model 1. They haven't done it with the Model 2, but gives me hope that they might in the future, and if they do, I'll probably pick that up and use it as a donor blade for this one, swap this into that, so I have a ultra premium Rat 2, but in the meantime, I'm still very, very happy with this. Full flat grind on here. Drop point style blade, nice 90-degree edge on here. And one thing I like about the Rat 2, which you don't see on a ton of knives, is a lot of times when the blade opens, it's going to be at the same level as the spine, and so it's just going to kind of continue that straight line. In this case, you can see the entire blade is sitting a little bit higher, and so it creates this really nice thumb ramp where you can lock your finger in. The jimping on here is effective. It's almost like a staircase jimping, and it really locks you into that very, very nicely. And so that's one cool thing about the Rat 2. Now, these are made in Taiwan. Obviously the customization is done here in the US. Still a liner lock, and you're still going to have those steel liners in there. The action is really good on here. I feel like the detent is dialed in perfectly, which has been the case with most of my Rat 2s that I've handled, but detent is absolutely perfect on there. As far as closing though, you can see it doesn't really drop shut. You do have to manually close that. I could probably loosen the pivot up a little bit and maybe get to that drop shut action, but I really like where the detent's at, so I'm probably not going to tinker with it too much. Not every knife needs to be drop shut, and I'm really happy with the action on this one, so probably not going to really mess around with it too much. Now, the one dimension that is going to change depending on what skill option you have, because like I mentioned, it's not just G10, they have aluminum, carbon fiber, titanium, is the weight of them. And so even though they're all the same shape, they're different weights. And so this titanium is probably one of the heaviest options, and I weighed it in at 3.78 ounces, so a little bit heavy in that blade to weight ratio, but still not too terrible. 3.78 ounces is still really pocketable, and you don't really notice that much of a difference in hand. So absolutely happy with this one. It does have a lanyard hole back here as well. If it's just a little bit small for your hands, you can of course go with the Model 1. I don't know if they do mystery builds for the Model 1. If they do, I might check for that actually after this video. I may order one of those as well and just get that Blade HQ one now and swap that for the S35VN. But would love to hear your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Is this something you'd do? What do you think of the one they sent over to me? And anything else you'd like to comment. But thanks so much for watching. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting that notification button, or even joining the channel as a member. And as always, I hope you have a great one. Take care.